I actually want to talk to you guys about the title of my message. They actually reached out to me months ago, and I said, heck yeah, I finally sold enough to give me a general session message. This is great. It's not just a breakout first thing the next morning after everybody doesn't show up. This is awesome. My name is Chelsea Banks Rodriguez. You'll notice that on Vector Connect, it doesn't quite say Rodriguez yet. That was a very methodical decision over the last 12 months. You will be seeing Rodriguez switch in there this year, so whoop, whoop. Excited about that. Keep them here. I didn't really know what they wanted me to talk about till Josh sent me a text and explained it. I thought we were either going to talk about, one, keep Alabama #1 in the United States in football. That obviously is a talk I should have given to Nick Saban before 3 weeks ago. Or it was keep them at the booth. So I think it's the latter. Now, before I tell you about keeping them at the booth, I actually want to tell you guys a personal story. Anybody like personal stories? I'm not convinced. Do you like personal stories? Okay, first, I want you to know that what I'm going to talk to you about today, I'm going to keep it pertinent and I'm going to keep it to the point. But for you to really listen to what I have to say, I want you to actually understand a little bit about me. If you're with me, say you're with me. Okay, great. So I'm going to tell you about the first, actually second time I went snowboarding. Who's been snowboarding? Now, I don't know if Jason's in the room or not. Ian Connors is back there. My husband is over here to the right, my right. Skier's left. What I found is that I was a skier for 15 years. And I decided to switch to snowboarding about 4 years ago because of peer pressure and Jason Jeffrey and Ian Connors. Ian would probably disagree because he's our token skier of the group. Point of this story, I decided to switch to snowboarding, having skied for 15 years in my life, because I wanted to challenge myself and try something new. Who's ever wanted to try something new? Well, I found that I actually decided to switch to snowboarding on some of the steepest terrain in the United States, which is Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Bad idea. We went up to a double black diamond, basically my 5th or 6th day ever on a snowboard. Now, let me explain something very quickly. I was on a double black diamond traversing across a 1-foot wild traverse area. On one side of me is uphill, basically a wall in front of me of ice and snow and maybe a little powder. On the other side of me, behind me, is basically cliffs, rocks, and my ultimate demise. Yeah, you don't want to slip on that. Well, I noticed somewhere in that moment that I probably should not be there. I was not advanced enough, experienced enough, and I had probably lost my mind. I remember going up the gondola, going up the ski lift, thinking I wanted to jump off because that was less farther I had to go down. Now, if you're with me, say you're with me. And I remember traversing across this, bawling my eyes out to my husband and Ian because Jason and the rest of them left me. It's what you do. You ski or you get left. I've learned to keep up. Point is I remember getting really close to Jesus and really close to powder, all at the same time. Now, what I find that I learned in that moment, in that experience of being scared, being nervous, thinking I was going to die, is I realized that I was stuck there. I couldn't move. There was no choice other than to jump off the ski lift or make my way down the mountain, 1 foot at a time. Now, are you with me? Say you're with me. Okay, so I hope you understand in this moment, I knew that I had to keep moving forward. I had to just buckle in and enjoy the ride. So we're actually going to move to my PowerPoint here, Carrie, if that's okay. I want to talk about the title of my message. It's called Keep Them There. So let's relate this back to my first time snowboarding. You, at the booth with your customers, are going to give them 2 options in 2019. You're either going to A, tell them that they can jump off the ski lift, break their legs, and never own Cutco. That's right. Or B, you can hold them hostage, like my friends held me hostage, and you can help them through the process, like my husband and Ian helped me so graciously that day. Now, raise your hand if you're ready to help your customers get down the mountain. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Someone asked me earlier, they said, what story are you going to tell? I'm a stories person. I changed the name of this message because I didn't really like Keep Them There. I am Bama raised, but Texas to stay. So I changed the title to Texas Hold 'em Hostage. Y'all. Yeah. We got to throw a little Alabama flair in there, a little bit of Texas. This is how we talk to people because everybody knows that in Alabama and Texas, we basically run around bare feet, and sometimes we wear cowboy boots and hats. Everybody wears that, not really. Let's talk about some milestones. For you to really understand where we're going in the Cutco Events program and to understand like where we've been and where we want to go, I just want to do a quick recap. Can I do a quick recap for everyone? Okay, so we're going to talk about a timeline, and I'm going to hit a couple of milestones for you to understand why it's important to keep people at the booth and never let them leave. Hold them hostage. Do you guys have my handout? We're going to get to the letters in just a second. I made a timeline, and you're going to like this. The timeline, it normally, if you're a faith-bearing person, would be BC and AC, but I think it's before Cutco Events and after Cutco Events. Do you like that? Okay, great. So let's talk about what happened before Cutco Events. This was back when John Kane and Stevie P were just kids. Yeah. Do not sell at the booth. No, not allowed. You can only collect leads, only sign-ups. Demos are the way we sell knives. Now raise your hand if you've done a demo in the last month. In a home. I see maybe 5 hands up. That's not Cutco Events. Fast forward, Cutco Events came out. Oh, bada bam. Gonna save some lives. We learned to sell cheese knives. This is great. Cut that potato, Miss Jones. Buy that crap. This is awesome. And then we got real crazy and we decided to do a buy 2, get 1 free because who doesn't want to fight for 96 CPO? Yeah, that totally makes sense. That's way better. Now here's my favorite. Curtis was smart. Jason was too. They decided, why the heck are we wasting all of our time doing buy 2, get 1s and getting them out of the booth in 5 minutes? Why are we not working hard in that 5 minutes to sell sets and upgrades? Raise your hand if you sold a set and an upgrade. Lots of them, right? Fast forward again to infinity and beyond, where we're at today. Now we're selling package deals and Cutco kitchens left and right. Raise your hand if you've sold a Cutco kitchen. Raise your hand if Cutco kitchens typically take a lot longer than selling sets and upgrades. You have to keep people at the booth if you're wanting to sell upgrades in kitchens. I remember the first Cutco kitchen I got, and then I sold the next one 2 days later, and I was like, whoa, I think we're onto something. I think we should keep them there. So here's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to break this down for you guys. Who likes acronyms? Acronyms. Let's make this simple. Let's keep them there. Don't let your customers fall off the ski lift. Keep them on the ski lift with you, right up to the top of the mountain, and then take them on the ride of their life. I call it the dance. When a customer walks up to the booth, I'm like, all right, who's next? Can't wait to dance with you. Let's go. So what do we think the K, the E, and the P stand for? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I really only had an E, and a P, and I had to scratch what to do for the K. I couldn't come up with a word that actually made sense for K, so this is what I came up with. Yeah. Kangaroos. Any kangaroo fans out there? Does anybody know who this is? Oh, wait, who is it, babe? Say it louder. All right, don't be full of yourself. Here's what's awesome about this kangaroo. Unfortunately, sad story, this is Roger the kangaroo. He's out of Australia. He had a wonderful life at a sanctuary in Australia. This kangaroo is famous all over Instagram. He had his own handle. He's all over Google. He's super, super swole. Like unreal swole. And I just, for kicks and grins, because I like for people to listen to what I have to say, so I'm going to throw a couple jokes in there. I just wanted to ask from the crowd, is there a resemblance? Is there? I'm going to get there. I'm going to totally make my point here of what K stand for, I swear. But, I mean, just what do you think? Anybody? I see a resemblance. Maybe not the ears, but definitely the big mouth. Yeah. How to keep them there. Why do kangaroos matter? Let me tell you what red kangaroos are. They are the largest kangaroo, I don't know what you want to call it, that version of a kangaroo. They are the largest physically in the world. Roger the kangaroo has not that great of eyesight because his eyes are positioned on both sides of his head. And I want you to think about when you're looking at customers trying to rope them in, the eyes don't move. They have to actually move their head to have decent eyesight. But you know what kangaroos have the best of? Their ears. Their ears are so large, they actually swivel in multiple directions, and they can hear things very far away, almost like a dolphin underwater with sonar. They can hear things really far away. And when I think about keeping people at the booth, I think the first thing you need to put in your notes, yes, you can put kangaroos, but kangaroos have exceptional listening skills. Exceptional listening skills. If you're gonna actually talk to customers and not just demo knives, have a conversation with someone, you gotta listen. I see so many representatives do this. Well, next, there we go, we'll go back. I see so many representatives talk over their customers. I call this Joe Bob, because we see a lot of guys with beards in Texas. They usually have more of a beer belly, but this guy was the best I could find. Customers are trying to tell you something, and the reps are always talking over them, trying to get their script in. And when it comes to keeping people at the booth, the first thing you need to get really good at is listening to your customers throughout your demo, asking the questions, but not talking over them. So going back, the second one, E, it's engage. And when I say engage, keeping people at the booth is not about engaging the customer and roping them in, because that's not what this message is about. It's about when the customer is already there talking to you, are you engaging? Are you someone that is asking provoking questions? You know, Brandon's gonna talk next about the whys behind everything, and he'll ask more questions than probably any other rep in this room. The more information you have, the more ammo you have to help the customer. If you're with me, say you're with me. The more engaging you are, the more interested and tied in the customer is into your demo, the more likely they are to hang around. Raise your hand if you've ever felt like a customer's just trying to ditch you and get out of there. Be more engaging. Ask more questions. Let them talk. First, be like a kangaroo and listen. Ask more questions and engage. Next, empathize. Empathize. My favorite. When it comes to keeping people at the booth, I think arguably the most important thing you can do is remember that there is a human being on the other side of the table. Empathize. Everybody repeat after me. Empathize. What does empathize mean? If you want to have high-level empathy and keep people at the booth and not let them leave, you got to make them feel like you're connected to them. You got to make them feel like they're in charge. You got to make them feel like you understand them. Seek to understand, not to be understood. Appreciate them as human beings. Understand their feelings. See their world. You know, someone asked me on our team locally before we were doing the State Fair of Texas this year, they said, Chelsea, what's the one thing you're going to do different this year to grow at the State Fair of Texas? And I said, well, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. You get to a point in your business where you sell and you can learn one more flatware script and one more cookware script and one more keep them at the booth thing. At the end of the day, though, what I have found, 10 years actually, Scott Gorell, to be 10 years this Friday is my anniversary with Cutco, 10 years Friday. I'll be in the booth selling. Give me that credit card. Don't hurt my feelings and mess up my day. What I've found is that the best thing you can do in this business, if you want to learn to keep people at the booth, is just keep showing up. Keep showing up, and you'll learn how to have higher levels of empathy with your people. This empathy concept, I will watch rep after rep after rep, struggle, repeating script after script after script, and they sound like a robot. They're not actually having a conversation with their customer. People with high levels of empathy, those are the people that are selling Cutco kitchens. Those are the people that are helping their customer buy a homemaker instead of a Siggy with steak knives because that's what the customer said they actually wanted. And those are the customers that don't return that homemaker as they would have returned the Siggy. If you're with me, say you're with me. Empathize. What do you think the last one is? Anybody? Provide. Provide. What is the biggest mistake we can make as salespeople? Everybody's like, tell us, Chelsea, just tell us. I don't know, I want to say something wrong. Think about it. The biggest mistake we can make is we can expect or we cannot expect objections to come up. We look at them as obstacles. Training people on the military program, I will watch customer after customer after customer come up, and I'm training them somebody new, and they say, I have to talk to my spouse. That is the #1 objection we get on a military base upon every other objection. It's actually not the money first. Some will object to that, but most people object because the way military customers work is they have to have their spouse with them to make this type of a decision. And I watch rep after rep after rep, backtrack, 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 and the rapport that was there the first 3 minutes of the demo and the tie-in, it completely goes out the window. It's almost as if that rep's voice changes, their body language changes, and they freak out because the customer threw them a curveball. I've gotten to the point in my business now where I know they're going to have some form of objection, so I don't get surprised when they say it. It's actually just built innate into my script, which is internalized into my brain. If you're with me, say you're with me. So what it comes down to is you've got to provide a solution, but you can't provide a solution to their issues and their objections until you've empathized with them and made them feel like a real person, plus engaged them and been a good listener. You've got to do all of it. It's not that complicated, though. Now, I'm going to break it down for you. So the biggest mistake, you wrote that down. When you hear an objection, first you need to pause. This is going to link right back to keep them here. These 2 bullet points, this is for the people that like acronyms, and now I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts for people that don't care about acronyms. When you pause, that means you listen. That's the Kangaroo. When you ask a question, that's you engaging. You relating it back to them, asking a question to get more information to be able to serve the customer at a higher level, confirming the need. When the customer comes to you and says, hey, listen, I really like this stuff. It's awesome, but I'm going to be honest with you. I would never use all of that. Well, you definitely don't want to up to the steak knives at that point. You want to make sure you drop down to a set that has less pieces that fits that need. So then you're satisfying the need. You have to pause, ask a question, confirm the need, satisfy the need. We're going to actually script this in just a second, but I just wanted to make sure you guys wrote it down. When you ask a question, discover the real objection. When you confirm the need, prove to them you understand. It is your job when you're keeping people at the booth and talking to them through your script, make sure you are proving to them that this is not just about a sale. This is about you consulting with them, keeping them on the chairlift to the top of the mountain, and telling them to fasten their seats for the ride of their life. Satisfy that need. You're going to provide a simple solution for why they should take action, and I should have added this, now. Not why they should take action, go home and research Cutco. Hey, Ms. Jones, guess what? You don't actually have to go home and research, because the good news is I've done all the research for you. Yes, I say that. I've actually done all the research for you. Is it okay if I share that with you really quick? Provide or satisfy the need. Do you guys see how pause, ask, confirm, satisfy follows Kangaroos, engage, empathize, provide? It all goes hand in hand. Now, as we move on, all else may fail. You may forget these 4 steps when you're keeping people at the booth, and you may not know what else to do. You're like, how am I going to keep this person from walking away? Raise your hand if you've ever gotten to the point where like, I feel like I've tried everything and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep them here. They're about to walk. If you're not raising your hand, I don't know what booth you're selling in. Yeah. So when all else fails, resort to drastic and insane methods of humor. Yes. This is what I do. If you ask anyone on the TGP team for a couple of home shows I work a year, a couple of side trade days, and definitely our big key events like state fairs and rodeos, the one thing that I will do is I will keep offering something, handling of objections, listening to them at the same time, doing that pause and listening, but I will say some of the weirdest stuff. And they all laugh because they're like, I could never say the things Chelsea says. I would never get away with that. Customer would think I was a weirdo. And I'm like, have you tried it? You're the weirdo for not trying it. Yeah. I try anything. So can I show you guys some of the things I try? Would you guys like some one-liners and examples? All right, I've given you the basics. They only gave me 30 minutes, so I'm trying to pile this stuff in here. The be-back bus. Raise your hand if you've heard of the be-back bus. Okay, you've probably never heard of the be-back bus the way I do the be-back bus. So I will tell a customer if they try to leave the booth and they say, okay, awesome, cool. Well, we're going to be back. Raise your hand if you've ever heard, I'm going to be back. I love it when they say that because I think to myself, no, you won't. I basically handle the be-back bus as follows. Tell me you're going to be back. I'm sorry, what? Oh, you're going to come back? Oh, no. I know what that means. That means I'm never going to see you again. And then they go, oh, no, I swear I'm going to be back. I swear I'm coming back. And I'm like, Miss Jones, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I already had like 10 people tell me that today. And, I think they keep getting on this like bus and it just drives them off to the edge of the earth. And apparently the earth is still flat because none of them come back. They get on the BBAT bus, they drive off to the side of the earth, and they never come back. Another one that I try, the train conductor abductor. Yes, I stole this. I don't know if it was Seth or someone else, but I lick things and claim them as my own. They're great. Train conductor abductor is what I call it, and I love finding an event where there's a pole in the middle of like a walkway or an event venue, and you can't see around the other side of the pole, or maybe it's a wall. Maybe your event is hidden off somewhere, and they go around this corner and then they never come back, right? So then you talk about the be-back train, but instead of calling it the be-back train, you say, oh, Miss Jones, I'll be honest with you, please don't get on that train. And they go, what? And I'm like, please, like, I know you just said you're going to come back, but like, don't get on that train. What train is she talking about? And I'm like, there's this abductor, conductor. He drives a train, and you see that corner over there? You go around that way. You see how like the general flow of traffic's going this way? Everybody gets on this train, and he's just a train conductor abductor. He just steals all my customers away, and he never actually brings the train back. So don't get on that train. He's never going to bring you back. Train conductor abductor. It's ridiculous. It works. They're standing there going, what is this girl talking about? And you just keep them talking, and then you can provide an ejection handler. It's really cool. Black holes and such. I love this. This kind of looks like Cards Against Humanity. It's not. Don't worry, Dave Bush. It's really clean. Black holes and such. What's nice about black holes and such is customers tell you that they're going to think about it. Raise your hand if they've ever told you, I'm going to think about it. And you're spinning your pedals in your mind, and you're like, oh, how am I going to get out of this one? I knew this was coming. And they tell you they're going to think about it, and you go, oh, Miss Jones, you know what that means, right? You just told me you're going to think about it. And you know what? Most people, when they decide to leave, they never come back, and they're gone thinking about it. And while they're thinking about it, they're walking around in the parking lot or trying to find their car because there's 1,000 cars here, and they just fall in a black hole or something, and I never see them again. Black holes and such. Use whatever, but my least favorite is the polite demo ditcher. The polite demo ditcher. This is the person that asks you for a card or tells you I'm going to think about it, or they ask to leave, and they also have the audacity to say, oh, but your demo is really good. You are such a good salesperson. And that is where I tell them, apparently not, or you'd be giving me a credit card. Tell them that. Make a joke about it. Keep them talking. Do not let them leave. Remember, this is about holding them hostage. If you're with me, say you're with me. Polite demo ditcher, then explain to them, hey, Ms. Jones, I understand what you're saying. Repeat their objection back to them, but then explain to them, hey, I hear that a lot, and to be very frank with you, from 10 years of standing on this side of the booth and relating to people on your side of the booth, empathy, I just find that that's a really polite way for you to say you're either A, not interested in the knives at all, or B, you just haven't found something that fits your budget. It's just a really polite way for you to say that I'm not interested in that option. Is it that for you, Ms. Jones? And then you're asking them a question. Is it that for you? Are you guys following? Okay, great. The polite demo ditcher. Do you have a card? Do you have a card? If one more person asks me for a card, I'm going to start flinging them out like a ninja. Might get some paper cuts in the eye. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Ms. Jones, what do you need a card for? You know, I hate to tell you this, but these customers, they were getting my cards, like they were getting them home, and they were realizing that, you know, lo and behold, my cards, they just don't cut food the way the knives do. You should probably get one of these knives I just showed you instead. Then transition. Ask a question of what the real objection is. Keep them talking. Then offer a solution. Lastly, the stall close. Who's ever heard of Josh Muller's stall close? I don't know if it was Josh Muller's. I just know that he's the one that taught it to me. I love it. The stall close is simple. Write it down. They tell you they're going to think about it. I listed a bunch of objections on your sheet. These are just popular objections that any customer could give you. Anytime they give you these objections, you stall. Okay, hey, no problem. Offer the humor, the way I've showed you the humor. Next step is you write it down, either on a deal sheet or turn over the back of an order form, like you're actually going to let them walk away with that order form. That's not happening. Give them a stall. Give them a moment to sit there and relish in the fact that you are probably the greatest salesperson alive and they're not getting out of here without knives. So what's happening with the stall close is you write it down, then you ask a question. The question that you ask is at the bottom of your handout. I ask this question almost on probably 90% of my demos. It is such a simple question, so I'm going to read it aloud. They give you their objection. I hear you, Miss Jones. Did you listen to the objection, though? Or did you just bulldoze past it to get to this objection handler? Make sure you're listening to her. I hear you, Miss Jones. It sounds like you just really aren't sure about the budget, or you really aren't sure about doing this without your husband standing here next to you today. Make sure you repeat whatever objection. Why is it important for you to repeat the objection while you're keeping them at the booth? Because you're reaffirming and empathizing that you listen to them and you hear them and they're an actual human being. Being totally honest and speaking from 10 years of experience. If you're 5 years in the business, speak from 5 years of experience. If you're a year in the business, hey, Miss Jones, I've been doing this a long time. So speaking from experience, I have found that when most customers feel the same way you do, it actually means one of two things. Can I share those with you? I always ask for permission, and I've actually had customers say, nah, I really don't want you to. I'm just ready to get out of here and go buy some beer. Hey, no problem. Sounds like you're just completely checked out. Let them go. If they tell you no, you can't share the two things with them, let them go. They weren't buying Cutco anyway, and release your energy to someone who will. But if they say, yeah, what are those two things? Usually, they say yes. It's either A, you're not sure about the pieces that I've shown you, or B, you're just not sure if you want to budget that much on knives today. Is it one of those for you? Because 9 times out of 10, guys, I have actually found that when you're talking to these customers, talking, you are learning that it's usually one of two things keeping them from buying Cutco. They're unsure about the package or they're unsure about the price. Most people categorize into those two categories. I wonder how much Cutco I would have sold my Fast Start had I asked this question on every single demo. Are you just unsure of the package or are you unsure of the price? They give you an answer. You use that answer to keep them at the booth, keep them talking, but then provide a solution. Is it one of those for you? 9 times out of 10, out of those 9 times out of 10, which one is it? It's the price. Most people, if they didn't know of Cutco, they didn't expect to spend that much on it today. And that's why you say most people aren't sure if they want to spend that much today. Is one of these you? Pause. They answer, and they say, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really want to spend that much on knives today. We didn't really come here to buy knives. Or, we just parked right over here. Kelly, that's a joke. Yeah, they say that. They'll tell you it's the price. And then you just follow it up with, okay, hey, so it's the budget right now? I totally understand. And affirm that. Make sure that they hear you like loving on them. Have you guys ever stopped to think when you're handling objections and you get to the objection of the price? Have you ever stopped to think how you would feel walking around a home show? Girls, you walked up to a shoe booth, a straightener booth, or a handbag booth, and the bag was $1,000. And the salesperson was really good, and they tried to sell you one. Would you buy it? No matter how good it was? Hey guys, I don't know, what do you guys buy? Guns? What do guys buy? Guns? Yeah, okay, guns, yeah, we'll go with that, guns. Guys buy guns. So you walk up to a booth, and they show you everything, and they show you packages and the pricing, and this one's an automatic, and this and that and the other. I'm from Alabama, but I don't shoot stuff. I like Bambi. So the concept is, would you actually buy something for $1,000, even if the salesperson was amazing, even if the product was amazing, if you didn't wake up that day to buy it? Are you thinking of your customers that way? Are you guiding them through the process and keeping them at the booth only to serve their needs, not yours? Are you handling it this way? Are you loving on them? Hey, just to make sure, you love these pieces though, right? And if you did do it, you would do it in what color handles? Like, would you do the dark, the classic, or the white? And then they pick white, and I go, Miss Jones, don't be racist. That's one of the things I say. Be careful saying that to a tight end for the New York Giants. That was funny. His wife liked it. He didn't. Yeah. Ask them these questions. Remind them of the payment options to curb interest. Offer a super turbo charge deal. Once they answer that it's the budget, that's the problem, that's what's holding them back, you have information you can work with. And so then I just ask them point blank, Miss Jones, can I just be completely honest with you? I know you said you want to think about it, and I completely respect that. I hear you. You probably didn't come in here today to buy knives. Am I right? Sounds like it. This was probably a shock and a surprise to you, although you've really enjoyed the demo, right? And you really like the pieces, right? And if you did do it, you'd go with the black handles and the cherry block. Oh my gosh, that's awesome, high five. That's exactly the colors I have. Now I'm just wondering, Ms. Jones, to be completely honest, I've had like probably 50 people this weekend tell me they're gonna think about it and they'll be right back. Ms. Jones, guess how many people actually come back? And then she goes, I don't know, a few. And I'm like, most people, they either say a few or they say zero, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's two. It's the Terminator and Jesus. Yeah. Here's what's awesome though, Miss Jones, is if you wouldn't do that to me, because we've been waiting a long time for the last guy, if you wouldn't do that to me, what if I just offered you a super turbocharged, ridiculous, like you'll never find this on Cutco from another rep, they're not gonna be willing to do this for you. If I was just to offer you something crazy today, would you even consider it? And I always ask it that way, would you even consider it? And if they say, well, how good of a deal, closed, done. Offer something for free, offer a slightly better deal. You don't have to drop the price a lot. You could drop a homemaker $50 and they'd probably say yes. Because you took the time to listen, you took the time to engage, to confirm that need, you took the time to satisfy the need, and you also took the time to provide. Guys, if you're gonna keep people at the booth, I want you to ask yourself this question. Write it in your notes as I finish. In 2019, are you doing every single thing in your power to keep them there? There's one goal and one goal only that I have with every single interaction that I have with a customer. Did I give them every single opportunity to get Cutco? Because you know how it feels. There are customers that will walk away from the booth and push the stroller, and you're like, I'll never see you again. But you have this weird feeling in the pit of your stomach, and you know that there was probably one more thing you could have offered or one more thing you could have said to help them get one knife. Are you doing everything to close an order? Or are you just letting them jump off the lift? I'm going to leave you with this. Let it sink in. Let's have a great NET meeting.